Well, the Idaho Vandals have been a staple in the FCS playoffs the last several years, but for this year coming up, they have a new face leading the way, and that's Mr. Thomas Ford. And Thomas, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the job, and you're back home, right, with the Vandals, hanging out with them and ready to lead them again. So just your thoughts on getting the job, and what have the first few months been like for you?
Well, first, thanks for having me. It's been awesome. Ever since getting back to Moscow, it's kind of like you said, it's kind of coming home. I've spent so much of my life in Moscow through high school and like high school football camps. When I was in college, I used to run at the Kibbie Dome. My brother played for the Vandals kind of in the mid-2000s. So it's a very special place to me, and to be able to be at the head of the program now is really special.
Coach, the last time we spoke, you were literally starting spring ball a day or two after that. Now we're just days away from fall camp. How would you describe the energy now compared to then?
Oh, gosh, I think a lot of the momentum from spring ball has really carried over in the summer. We have a strong nucleus of guys. I mean, we have 56 returning guys. I think it's the second most in our league in terms of returning players. And then you put those guys together with the key transfers we brought in throughout mid-year and in the summer. I just think there's so much excitement. I think they were very excited in the spring. I think it's even more so going into fall camp.
Speak to those returners, right? Because like you mentioned, that's a big key to this. So you guys bringing some guys back. You look at Jack coming back and big things on the O-line and D-line and things like that. What do you like about this group coming back and those guys kind of being there as you're kind of getting your feet under you as a head coach?
Well, it's huge. Being an assistant coach in 22 and 23, I kind of saw how we got to this point where you can be a perennial playoff team. And so having those veteran guys that actually knew me, knew what my intentions were, knew that I'm going to be a guy that's going to care about them as human beings was huge in just implementing the slight changes we had. Coach Eck did a phenomenal job with culture there, and so we changed a few things, but for the most part, it's very similar. So I think those guys just echoing and reinforcing kind of our values has been critical for our success for sure.
With so many returning players, which is a rarity this day and age in the college sport, how do you kind of manage the culture that Coach X set with also creating your own? Yeah,
I just think having a very clear vision. I think that's one thing that our coaching staff has is, hey, we know we can be successful, but this is how. And we want to make sure everybody in our program knows the why, because it's not about what you do, it's how you do it. And I wanted everyone in our program to know why we're doing it.
When you look at just kind of your career trajectory to get to this point, right, working to get a chance to be a head coach, working in the Big Sky Conference, you look at just your path to this spot, just, how special is this for you to kind of realize one of these grand opportunities to get a chance to lead a program and leave a mark?
Yeah, the previous two programs I've been, fortunate enough to be the head of were rebuilds. Right, it was situations that were really poor, and then I got there and hopefully made them better. But this is totally different, right? And to be in a place that I'm so familiar with, in a program that I know can have success, I think is just a blessing.
Coach, you've mentioned the playoffs, of course. Got to look at your schedule to see who you have to beat to make the playoffs, open the season at Washington State, a team 8 miles down the road from you guys in Moscow. How would you describe that rivalry, if there's a rivalry, with the Cougars?
Oh, I think it's a huge rivalry. That thing goes back way before my time, right? And I think those two programs being so close, just the proximity alone, right? There's a lot of pride, and our side of the border's better. Right, and I think for our kids, especially, we played them in 2022, my first year as an assistant, and it was also a big measuring stick game for us, right? And I think anytime you can play an FBS opponent and sleep in your own bed, you're feeling pretty good about it.
When you look at the conference schedule and look at some of the guys you're going to play, is obviously a team that was in the postseason the last several years, but getting a chance to see some of the best in the league. You guys are going to get the Grizzlies on national TV. Just what do you like about the conference schedule and what that challenge could present?
Well, this schedule is always going to be difficult. Anytime you play in the Big Sky, there's not a week off, right? Every team, and I think, especially when you look at the returning rosters, every team at this point has a chance. And so I think having that understanding that you've got to go out and play your best week in, week out is a challenge, but a challenge that we're really welcome to take on.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, congratulations again on getting the job. We can't wait to see how the season goes for you guys, and thanks so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me as well. V's up.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, we'll talk to the representatives from Idaho and the players that are here at the Big Sky Kickoff.